Good morning, and welcome to day one of Renewed Church's Christmas Advent Devotional. For the next 7 days, we're going to go over the story of Christmas. And I know it's a story we're all very familiar with, but I like to look at it from the perspective of different characters in the story to see if we can learn something new this Christmas season. When a story is so beloved and so familiar to us, sometimes we tend to just gloss over some of the details. But I'd like to spend some time on some of those details and see what we can learn together. So today we're actually going to start with day one, the 400 years of silence. And we're actually starting before the story of Christmas begins, before baby Jesus even makes an entrance. We're going to go over what happened right before, right? So the 400 years of silence is a time period between the last book of the Old Testament and the first book of the New Testament. So for hundreds of years, there was no word from God. There was silence. And that had to be strange for a people that were used to hearing from their God so often. For hundreds and hundreds of years, God had spoken to his people through the prophets. He had spoken to his people through people like David and all the psalmists that wrote, from Moses, who wrote, a lot of the first 5 books of the Bible. So all of these things had been available to the people, and they had been hearing from their God. And then all of a sudden, he makes this amazing promise in the last book of the Bible that he was going to send someone to prepare the way for the coming of the Lord. And that was the last word. And could you imagine, for those that heard that they must have been saying, okay, any day now, okay, any year now, okay, any century now, and nothing, very, very quiet. You would think that after such a long silence, people would wonder, did God forget? Is this something that he's no longer going to do? But God never forgets. So he's been preparing the way all along for the coming of Jesus. And we're going to arrive in the story right before Jesus. We're going to arrive in the story when Zacchaeus is going into the Holy of Holies for the first time. The only time. Usually priests did that once in their lifetime. And so he's going in to minister to the Lord in the Holy of Holies, and an angel appears to him, right? And Zacchaeus is a priest, a righteous man who loves God. And he has been praying for years, pretty much almost all his life, to have a child, right? And now he and his wife are very well advanced in years, beyond the point where they should be expecting to have a child. And this angel shows up and tells Zacchaeus the most amazing thing. He tells him that he and his wife are going to have a child. Now imagine, Zacchaeus, we don't know his age, but if he was past childbearing, his wife had to at least be in her 50s, 60s, maybe even later. And Zacchaeus probably around that time too. And so they're going to be parents for the very first time. And the child that they're going to have is not just any child. It is John the Baptist. It is that promised forerunner that God talked about in the last book of the Old Testament, when he said that he was going to prepare the way for his for the coming of the Lord. So here it is, 400 years of silence, and into this silence, an angel speaks to a man who has also been waiting for years and years and years. And at this point in his life, he has pretty much given up hope that he's going to have a child. And he's probably just accepted and just given up the idea that he would have a child. And the angel breathes new life into that, the same way that Jesus is about to bring new life into everybody. So Zacchaeus hears this word. And I love that he was really honest, and he said pretty much, are you kidding me? Not in that way, but in Bible speak, he basically said, how is this going to happen when I am so old? And in the Message translation, he says, do you expect me to believe this, right? So the angel tells him, it's going to happen exactly as I said, but because you did not believe me, you're going to be silent until the arrival of the child. So Zacchaeus leaves the Holy of Holies, and he has this amazing story to tell, and he can't tell it to anybody because he's going to be silent until that child shows up. But I love that idea that into this void of 400 years, into the void of this couple's life that they've been praying so long for this child to come and it hasn't. God speaks, and the very first words he says, he picks up right where he left off in the Old Testament. So for us, this huge gap of time may go between when God delivers on a promise that he's made, but all the time God has not forgotten, and he picks up 400 years later right where he left off. And I hope that gives you encouragement today. If you have been sitting waiting for what seems to you 400 years for God to answer a prayer, don't give up hope, because God is not forgotten, and he is at work even now. And any moment now, what God has promised will take place. So I hope you enjoy reading the devotional and the Bible passages that come with them, and comment on this video what you think of it. And I hope to see you tomorrow with day 2.